Hello, my name is Damian. Today I will be going through with you the Form 1 Chapter 1. Okay. What I'll be doing is I'll be going through the textbook questions, okay, the summary exercises, and to explain to you the important parts of the chapter through these questions. Okay. So let's look at them. So basically, let me give you a preview of the chapter. So in this chapter, basically is rational numbers. So in this chapter, basically what we do is, first thing we need to know is recognizing your positive and negative numbers. What are they? And compared to a real life situation, what does it mean? So usually positive, negative, and negative numbers represents a direction of things. Okay. So for example, your temperature. The temperature, there is positive temperature, there is negative temperature. So as it goes up, the temperature increase, that's a positive value. When it goes down, that's a negative value. That's why there is 0 degrees Celsius, your freezing temperature of water. But anything hotter than that would be a positive value of temperature. But anything colder than that would be a negative value of temperature. Okay. It can also represent directions directions of movement. Okay. For example, if I go forward, I take it as positive. So if I go backwards, it will be negative. It can also be height, going up or going down. It's just like your ground floor will be floor 0. So as you go up, that will be first floor, second floor, third floor, that's positive value. As we go down, you have your basement 1, basement 2, that is actually represent, if you want to represent it with just numbers, that would be a negative value. All right. So we need to know what your positive number and negative number represents in a real life situation. Okay. So another thing is we need to recognize and describe your integers and rational numbers. Okay. Recognize and describing integers and rational numbers, basically, you need to know what is an integer. So integers are whole numbers, but it can be 0 and it can be negative numbers as well. It can be positive, negative, or 0. 0 is neither positive or negative. It's like the neutral ground. And rational number is numbers that you can express in fraction, where your numerator and denominator are whole numbers. Okay. Both your numerator and denominator are whole numbers. For example, if I have a fraction like 3/5, that would be a rational number. Okay. So what would be an irrational number? Okay. Let's talk about irrational number. Irrational number would be numbers like square root of 2. Okay. So if you see, if I try to input into a calculator, square root of 2 will not give me any fraction. You give me a never-ending decimal that's all jumbled up. Okay. But doesn't mean decimal numbers are irrational. Decimal numbers are rational as well. So for example, if I have repeating decimals, let's say if I have 1.33333, if I keep going on and on, if I key in the calculator, you see it will give me 4/3. It is a rational number. Repeating decimals are rational numbers as well. So the only way I can have irrational number is if I use roots. Square can be square root, can be cube root, okay, or numbers that involve pi. So pi has never-ending decimals as well, and the decimals is like all jumbled up. Okay, there's no pattern to it. Yeah, so this is the difference between rational and irrational numbers. Okay. Then we need to know how to draw the number line. Number line is basically a line whereby we put your numbers in the ascending and descending way. Okay. Means compared to your 0, Going to the right is your positive numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. Going to the left is negative numbers. To know how to draw them. But your number lines doesn't mean it has to increase by 1, decrease by 1. It can jump as well. So I can go from 0 to maybe 5 and 10, 15. So if the space is the same, the difference between the value should be the same. If the gap is the same size, yeah, I can't really draw exact same size. So just assuming it is same size, okay, the gap between the values will be the same as well. Right? Same goes when it goes to negative. Yeah. And then comparing and arranging your integers, fractions, decimals in order. Okay, integers, fractions, and decimals in order. So the order that you arrange it, well, if it's ascending order, basically it's the same as your number line. As you go to the right, it's bigger, it's getting bigger. As you go to the left, it's getting smaller. Right? Just follow your number line. But be aware if they say descending order. Descending order means they are decreasing, then it's the opposite way from largest to the smallest. Right? Adding and subtract integers using number lines or appropriate methods. So the first way of adding and subtracting is by using a number line. As we add, we go to the right. So for example, if I want to plus 10, then I go to the right by 10. If I want to say after I plus 10, then I minus 15. And from here, I go 1, 2, 3, 15. That's how we add and subtract using your positive and negative. Sorry, using your number line. So negative is like minus. Of course, you can also just add, subtract my normal number. Basically, what I do is, if it's the same sign, I always use plus. Okay, same sign, it will become plus. Different sign, it will become minus. Okay, so if I plus, let's say 3 plus negative 2, it's the same as 3 minus 2. Yeah, because it's plus and minus, a different sign. So if I have 4 minus negative 5, it's the same sign, it becomes a plus. It's the same as 4 plus 5. That's what it means. That's the method. Multiplying and dividing integers, also the same way. If I have positive and negative, okay, when it's negative times negative, it's plus. Sorry, it will become a positive. Negative and negative become positive because same sign. If I have one positive, one negative, it will be different signs, so answer will be negative. Yeah. And then, yeah, so we need to know how to combine all that, calculate. Yeah, whether it's in integers, fractions, or decimals. Then we also have your arithmetic laws of arithmetic operations, your identity law, commutative law, associative law, and distributive law. These laws are used to make calculation easy. So for example, if I have 35 plus, let's not use 5, 37 plus 43 plus 51. Let's just say. So it will definitely be easier to add these two together first. Or even if I rearrange it, put it in different order. Like this. See, this one ends with 7, this one ends with 3. It's easier to plus these two together first. It's easier to count, and after that, it's easier to plus the 51. So, because these two, when I add together, is 80. 80 plus 51 is easy to count. You will be 131. So that's an example of how we can use laws of arithmetic operation to make calculation easier. So yeah, that's what it means by performing efficient computation using laws of basic arithmetic operation. Okay, and then of course we need to know how to interpret and solve problem-solving questions. Okay, now let's look at some of the questions here. So from the first one, choose the correct calculation steps for this. Okay, so this one, calculation, we have to make sure we follow the odd mass order. Okay, B stands for bracket, O is order, D is division, M is multiplication, A is add, S is subtract. Okay. So bracket means anything inside the bracket, we have to do it first. Okay. O is order. Order doesn't mean the order is arranged. Order actually means your power. Okay. For example, if I have a square, 3 square, order is when I have square, I have to square it first. Or if I have a cube, I have to cube it first. That's what it means by order. Okay. So it's always bracket first, and order. Division and multiplication is in one group. Okay. And then add and subtract the other group. So I can subtract first and add. I can add first and subtract. Okay. That one depends on what is first. Okay. Division and multiplication also, I can divide first or I can multiply first. Right? But if I divide and subtract or multiply and subtract, okay, or multiply and adding, division and adding, I have to do the division and multiplication first before I do the add subtract. So I want to choose the correct multiplication step, correct calculation step. Means what I do is I have to do what's in the bracket first. So I have to calculate this one first. Okay. So when I calculate this, it becomes 5 bracket negative 3 plus 10. Negative 3 plus 10 basically is that when you have negative and positive. So I have negative 3. When you go to 0, it's basically a plus 3. But I need to plus 10, means I still have another 7 to go. Okay, so it means from 0, it goes another 7. So negative 3 plus 10 all the way would basically be 7. So it's 5 bracket 7 times 2, 4 divided 3 over 4. So you can see here, none of it is the same. So let's calculate further. 5 times 7 is 35. Okay. Times 2.4 divided by 3 over 4. It's still all different. Okay. This is times instead of divide. So when you divide by a fraction, okay, what we can always do is we can change it to times and then flip the fraction around. Because when I divide by a fraction, when I divide and divide again, divide something that I divide first is basically the same as times. That's why it goes on top. And divide 3 is the same as times 1 over 3. So that's why when you divide by a fraction, you can just change to times and then flip it around. Okay, so now you can see it's the same as this one. That means the answer here is B. Right? Now, let's look at the second question. Determine the number with a larger value without making any calculation. Okay. Number with larger value without making calculation. So if we just see it, so this is one negative, one positive. Straight away, I know the positive value has to be a larger number. Must be 1 over 100. Okay. But if it's not, then I have to see the denominator. Since the number on top is the same, if I divide by a larger number, get smaller. Because I'm dividing more. Dividing is like splitting into different parts. Splitting in 2 parts versus I split to 100 parts. Of course, splitting into 100 parts will be smaller. But this one, because it's negative has to be smaller than positive number. Okay, so this one, larger number is 1 over 100. This one, if I compare, negative 4.5 is further to the negative side. Means negative 4.5 is smaller. So negative 4.3 will be the larger value. Okay. When you go further to negative, it's smaller. Further to the positive side, it's bigger. Then we have 2 over 5 and 2.5. Okay. So the 2 is the same. 2 part is the same. It's just the 2 over 5 compared with the 0.5. So 0.5 is like half. 2 over 5. 2 over 5, you can see it's less than half. So means 2 over 5 should be smaller. So larger one will be 2.5. So no calculation is needed, no working is needed. We just need to compare them. We just need to know how to compare them. Right? That is for question 2. Now we look at question 3. Okay. I have this table showing number of goals scored and the number of goals conceded for 2 soccer teams. I want to find the goal difference for the Eagle team. Goal difference means the difference between your goals scored and the goals conceded. Okay, goals that you score compared to goals that you let. Conceded means you let the other teams. Okay. So in this case, okay, we need to consider if my goal scored. I need to consider that my goal scored is a positive value and my goals conceded is a negative value. Okay. So when I compare them, it's like 20 minus 17 because it's positive, it's negative. So if I want to find goal difference for Eagle, I also do the same. Means I take 16 minus 18. Okay. So 16 minus 18 will be negative 2. Means the goal difference is negative 2. Okay. Again, when you minus over the 0 from positive to the negative side, means what I minus is bigger than what I have. Basically, you think how much it goes to 0 and then how much more it goes to the negative side. So we take 16 to go to 0, but I minus 18. I have another 2 to go. So 2 goes up. Alright. So that's for question 3. Very simple question. Question 4. A treasure chest hidden in the year 56 BC was found in the year 292 AD. So for how many years was the treasure chest hidden? How many years was the treasure chest hidden? Basically, I find the difference between them. Okay. So BC, before Christ, means before year 0. Okay. AD is Anno Domini. Okay, but you don't have to really know what it stands for. Basically, it means how many years after your year 0. Okay. In other words, the 56 years is a negative value. Because it's 56 years before your year 0. Okay. And then 292 AD is 292 after your year 0, means it's positive value. Okay. So if I want to find how many years was the treasure chest hidden, I take the larger value minus the smaller value. Okay. Yeah. When I want to find the difference, basically, I always take larger value minus smaller value. So it means I take 292 minus, this is negative, so negative 56. It's not minus 56, it's minus negative 56. So you see, this is what I mean when I say compare, look at the sign, same sign becomes plus. So it's basically 292 plus 56. Then we just add them together. So it will be 348 years. So it takes 348 years. Sorry, yeah, the treasure was hidden for 348 years. Right, that's for the question 4 here. Question 5. When doing charity work, Ali gives rice, sugar, and biscuit to 80 fire victims. So if each victim gets 2 kg of rice, half a kg of sugar, and 0.4 kg of biscuits, and all these alms are equally transported using 3 vans. So all this stuff is transported using 3 vans. Okay, it means I split into 3 different vans. So explain how you would find the mass of alms transported by a van. Means transported by 1 van. Means I have to divide the total mass by 3 vans. So divide by 3. Okay. So this is the amount that each victim will get. And they say there are 80 fire victims. Okay, 80 fire victims here. Means I need to multiply the total mass of the 3 items by 80. Okay, because there are 80 victims. So how I calculate is I take 80 times bracket 2 kg plus half a kg plus 0.4 kg. Then the whole thing I will divide by 3. If there's another addition here, I have to put a bracket, okay, before I divide 3. But because times divide, the order doesn't matter, so I can do that. Okay. But the plus, I have to bracket them because I want to plus them first. Make sure you put them in bracket. If not, the multiplication will happen first. So make sure you know how to use brackets to calculate in the correct order. Now, I need to add them together first. Okay. But if there's integer, fractions, and decimal at the same time, it will be a bit hard to add them. Okay. Then you change either the fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction. And in this case, half 1/2 is very easy to change to a decimal. Okay. So when it's easy to change to decimal, I would usually prefer decimal because decimals are easier to count compared to fraction. Okay. So I change it to decimal 0.5 plus 0.3 divide 3. So when I add them together, 2 plus 0.4, 0.5 times 0.48 plus 0.4 plus 0.5 plus 0.4 is 2.9. So this, I can do it one by one. I can just take 80 times 2.9 first. You can actually, it's okay to use calculator for this calculation. Okay? But just make sure you show working what you do first. You have to calculate what's in the bracket first. So you only need to calculate manually without calculator if they actually tell you without using a calculator. Okay, then that means they want a very complete step. Okay, they cannot actually stop you from using calculator because when you go into exams, you are allowed to bring a calculator. They cannot stop you from using it. But the difference is you need to show a complete working. Yeah. So if they say like adding fractions together without using calculator, means you have to clearly show changing of the denominator to the same denominator and not add them together. Okay. So make sure you know the working to do that. But it's okay to calculate using calculator, things like this. But even without using calculator, we can actually count. Okay. So when I multiply decimal with integer, basically just take 80 times 29. Okay. 8 times 29 is 232. So 2320. But one decimal, put back one decimal. This is 232. Then divide by 3. So divide by 3 and use long division. They say correct to 2 decimal place. So what we do is we look up to 3 decimal place because we have to round it off. Okay, so make sure you know how to round your numbers as well. If the next number is 5 or more, we round up to the next number. If the next number is less than 5, we round down. So it remains the same number. Okay. So I divide by 3, means 7 here. 7 again. Point. I put 3. 3. 3. Okay, 7.333. So the 3 here is less than 5, means I round down. It remains as 3 here. So means it is 77.33. Okay, 77.3. That is for question 5. Right. Now let's look at question 6. Question 6, fill in the boxes with plus or minus so that the answer obtained has the largest value. So if you want the largest value, means I add all the positive numbers and I minus the negative numbers. Because when you minus negative numbers, minus minus becomes a plus. It's like minus is going back, but negative is going the opposite direction. So from going back and back of that, it becomes going forward. Okay. So here, see, negative 5 means I want to minus this so that it becomes a plus. So put a minus here. This one, 4.3 is positive. So I want to plus this. And it will become a largest number. So the first number, I cannot change it no matter what. Okay, so I just ignore that. Here, half positive. Positive, I want to plus. Negative 4, negative number. I want to minus that. Just like that. That's for question 6. Now, question 7. The temperature of a place at sea level is 8 degrees Celsius. Temperature will drop by 3 degrees Celsius for every km above sea level. So calculate the temperature of the place at 5 km above sea level. 5 km above the sea level. So temperature of a place at sea level means at ground zero is 8 degrees Celsius. So means we start at 8 degrees Celsius on the sea level. Temperature will drop. Drop means you will minus. Okay, drop is a negative value. So minus 3 for every km. Means I have to times by the number of km that drops. times by the number of km that it goes up. Okay, because above sea level. So they say 5 km above sea level. You have to times the 5 km because it's for each km. So I have to do the multiplication first. 3 times 5 is 50, and 8 minus 50. Again, when you minus a larger value, goes to the negative side. 8 goes to 0 is 8. 0, I still have another 7 to go because I minus 15. Take out 8, I still have 7 to go on the negative side. So it's negative 7. Okay, that is question 7. Question 8. Sheila was at point O at a certain instant. So she moved 1.85 meters towards the left and then moved 4 steps, measuring 0.65 meters each towards the right. Calculate the position of Sheila now from point O. Okay, so what we do is let's take O as point 0. Left we count as negative, right we count as positive. Means she moved 1.85 meters towards left, goes negative 1.85 meters. Then she moved towards the right, means I plus 4 steps, each one measuring 0.65 meters. Means 4 times of 0.65. That's her position. So I calculate this. Again, I need to times first. So I take 4 times 0.65. Okay, 4 times 0.65, which is 2.6. Okay. So negative 1.85 plus 2.6 will be 0.75. So means she is 0.75 meters to the right of point O. That's what it means. That is for question 8. And question 9. Jasmine moves 9.5 meters towards east. Then she moves 10.7 meters towards the west. And then 6.8 meters towards the east. So describe the movement of Jasmine so that she can go back to her original position. So let's figure out where she is first. So she goes 9.5 meters east. Let's put east as positive, west as negative. Okay. So 9.5 positive because east. Then 10.7 meters west. So I minus because negative value. Minus 10.7. Then towards east again. So I plus back 0.8. You can count all at once or you can count one by one. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Yeah. So let's say I count one by one. It's easier. So I break it down. 9.5 minus 10.7 will be negative 1.2. Then plus 6.8 will be 5.6. So 5.6 positive value means she is 5.6 meters to the east. So for her to get back to the original position means go to 0, means she has to minus 5.6, means to the west. Okay. Means she has to go, Jasmine has to move 5.6 meters to the west. She has to move 5.6 meters to the west. That's for question 9. Then we move on to question 10. A leaf was at a certain distance, was at level H at a certain instance. Sorry, not certain distance. Certain instance means at one point, the leaf was at level H. Okay. Then the leaf went up 2 floors for a height of 9.8 meters. The leaf then went down 5 floors. So calculate the distance of leaf from level H. So let's see where the leaf is at compared to your H. So we put H as 0 first. Okay, put H as 0. So went up, let's count it as positive. So went up 2 floors for a height of 9.8 meters. Okay. And then the leaf went down 5 floors. Means it goes up 2 floors, means it's just 9.8 meters up. Okay. Then they say it goes down 5 floors, but they don't say the distance. So we have to count one floor is how many meters. So 2 floors is 9.8 meters. Means one floor will be 9.8 divided by 2 floors. To divide, I can always put over. You can write like this as well. 9.8 divided by 2. It's the same thing. Okay. But usually, writing in fraction is easier to write. So usually, I would prefer to write in fraction. So it's 4.9. Right? So means each floor is 4.9 meters. Let's see what floor is at now compared to your H. It goes up 2 floors. So positive 2, then went down 5 floors, means minus 5. So negative 3 floors, means 3 floors below the level H. Okay. I just want the distance. So I don't need to put positive or negative. I just keep it as a positive value. Right? So means it's 3 floors below 4.9 and each floor is 4.9 meters. 3 floors below, each floor 4.9 means the distance will be 3 floors times 4.9 meters. Yeah, so I just calculate this. 3 times 4.9 will be 14.7 meters. Yeah. That's the distance of the leaf from level H. So that is question 10. Next, look at question 11. So in the given diagram here, number in 2 collinear circles, okay, will multiply to give the product in the collinear middle square box. Collinear means on the same line. So this 3 on the same line, 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 this 3 on the same line. That's basically how it works. Right? So we want to see how it multiplies to give the product in the middle square box. So you see, here is negative, but here positive. To get negative values, it has to be one negative, one positive. To get positive values, it's either both is positive or both is negative. You can see here positive, positive. So I would assume here is a positive value, and here will be a negative value. Here positive value. And then here positive, here positive. Usually I put it that way. Right. Now, what we have to do is, first, let's look at this. 4. 4, it can either be 1 times 4, or 2 times 2. So I either put 2 here, 2 here, or 1 with 4. Now, if I put 2 here, Means to get 24 is 2 times 12. But 12, I can never get 30. Definitely is not. 1 also not possible, because 1 will be 1 times 24. 24, I will never get 30. So means the only possibility is 2 and 2. Okay, sorry, no, my mistake. It cannot be 2. It cannot be 2, it cannot be 1. So the only possibility is 4 here and 1 here. So to get 24 is 4 times 6. To get negative 30 is 6 times negative 5. Then to get negative 60, negative 5 times 12. Then here is just 1 times 12, which is 12. That is, yeah. So always start with the one that is easiest, that's smallest, yeah. Okay, that has the least number of choices I can put. I don't start with 24 because 24, there's a lot of choice. I can have 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. You see, there are so many number choices I can take. Yeah. So it's wasting time to consider all the different cases. But if I start from 4, then it's easy. Because 4 is either 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. I have only 1, 2, and 4. These 3 choices. Always start with the one with the least number of choices. And we try to see whether it makes sense or not to continue the path using that number. Right? That's how we tackle these kind of questions. Look for the easiest part to solve first. Then, then we move on to the more complex ones. So that's question 11. Okay. So that's basically all the questions in the summary part of the textbook. So the only part left out here, the only thing left out here that's not covered would be the laws of arithmetic operation. Okay. So let me just describe to you the different laws of arithmetic operation as well. We have the identity law. Identity law is not really important to really. Actually, it's not really not important. It's important, but we are actually a lot of times we are using identity law without even knowing it's identity law. Because identity law is things like anything times 0 will be 0, or anything times 1 will be the number itself. Yeah. Or anything plus 0 or minus 0 will still be the same thing. Yeah, things like that. That is identity law. Okay, or if we minus the same number is 0, yeah, these are identity law. But without needing to really use a law to think about it, we know that it relates that way. So actually, identity laws, most of you, probably all of you, should already actually know, yeah, all these relations. Okay, just that you don't know it's actually called identity law. Okay. So the other 3 laws are your commutative laws, associative law, and distributive law. So what are they? Commutative law is basically, I have addition and subtraction, I can always swap it around. So it means if I have 3 plus 4 or 4 plus 3 is basically the same thing. Okay, 4 plus, it doesn't matter which one comes first, it's the same thing. Same goes for times. If I have 7 times 9 and 9 times 7, it's the same thing. That is commutative law. Okay. Associative law is for plus or for times also. It doesn't matter which pair I do first. If I have 3 plus 4 plus 6, let's say. Okay, so doesn't mean I need to take 3 plus 4 first. I can take 4 plus 6 first. Okay, then it will be 3. I can always do the back one first. And it becomes 3 plus 10. Then I can get 13. It's easier to count like that whenever they end up with 10. So associative law. Same goes in time. Okay, if 3 times 3, say 8 times 9, 9 times 8 times 5. So it's easier to do this one first. Because 8 times 5 will be 40. Then 40 times 9 will be easy to count. 360. Associative. We pick which one to multiply first or which one to plus first, then it'll be easier to count. Distributive law is the one that is slightly harder. Okay, so distributive law, for example, if I have say 102 times say 30. So if I straight away count like that, it might be a bit hard to actually count. So what I can do is 102 is the same as 100 plus 2. So how distributive law works is that when I have something like this, 100 plus 2 bracket and then times 13, I can take the 100 times 13 plus with the 2 times 13. And I add that. You see 100 times 13 is easy, 1300. 2 times 13 also easy, 26. Then I just plus together, 1326. That's the use of distributive law. So the opposite can be done as well. Instead of separating it, I can also combine it. Okay, if it's multiplying with the same number. So, for example, if I have say 14 times 20 or the hard number 60. Okay, 14 times 60 plus 26 times 60. I can combine the 14 plus 60 plus 26 together, then only add times 60. Then you'll be 40 times 60, which is easy to count. 4 times 6, 24. Put back total number of zeros. 0, 0, 2,400. I'll use distributive law. Right? So basically that is all you need to know for chapter 1. Right? So make sure you do your practice, make sure you really understand, make sure you can master all these parts of your Form 1 chapter 1. Okay. So before we end the video, let me just introduce to you where we are from. We are from the Kssm Tuition Facility. Okay. So we have notes and tutorials books. So we actually write our own notes and tutorial books. So we have books with notes that we actually go through in class. And we have also topical practice books. Okay, practice books by topics, and also a new practice book. So it's basically similar to your topical practice, but more questions for you to drill on. Okay, yeah. So this is what our book cover actually looks like. So we actually print them out nicely and bind them together. Okay. So if you are interested in joining class or maybe even purchasing a book, so we have physical classes, we have online classes. We are actually doing dual system, physical class and online class at once. So if you have any queries, you can contact any of these two numbers. Yeah, actually any of these two numbers is fine for you to contact. You can WhatsApp us as well. Yeah, or call our landline. Okay. So if you want to know more about us, you can also follow our Facebook, check out our YouTube page. If you want to find more videos on education stuff, yeah, we will be uploading more as well. And then you can look at our Instagram for more updates from us as well. You can scan this QR code for our timetable, for our timetable for the year as well. So you can join us, or if you just wish to purchase a book, or you want to purchase online classes, you also have that, whether it's live or recorded classes. Right? So that's all for today. Bye bye.